Good evening, Gator fans. Happy Monday to everyone. What a beautiful day it was here in St. Augustine. Hey, before we get started, I'm not going to waste any time because we're already late. I got some wings to cook for this Monday night football game that's ought to be a blast. Donnie B's on the road, so we're all kind of just throwing this together per usual. Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe if you like what we're doing here. Gator Nation, Donnie B, glad you can join us. Like I said, I ain't going to waste any time at all. You know what starts here. It's
It's the old boom.
it's the boom.
Boom.
All right,
Boom.
Donnie
All
B, I'm gonna let you lead this off. You
right.
got the Gators. Gators headed over to Columbia, Missouri, and I pulled off probably one of the closer and better of the games in my opinion. Don't want to give it too much away on this show, and I usually let you lead the booms, and I kind of like that. So you go right on ahead, sir. What did you think of the Gators' visit to Columbia, Missouri?
So, Jay, it's nice to be with you this evening. I am on the road, so I'm going to do the best I can to roll with this. But anyway, I had some other
First
things
of
kind
all,
of.
are you driving?
I am not driving.
Okay, who's driving?
Nobody's driving right now.
You're on the road. Hold on,
Yep.
I need to rewind this before we get into the booms here. You're
And
on you're on the road, but no one's
I,
driving.
I'm sitting in front of Moe's right now. Okay.
Okay. All right. All right.
Sitting, sitting in the parking lot.
Will you be driving at any portion of this show?
I won't be.
Okay. All right. Miss Nadine,
She
Donnie B's
will.
beautiful wife, will be
Absolutely.
driving. I hope she has her booms and busts together, but I've turned the stage over to you. I've got clarity on the you not driving.
All right. You can sleep now. Okay. I'm good.
Yes,
I
sir.
am a
Yes, sir.
responsible human being.
Stage is yours,
All right.
Donnie B.
So, well, my booms are. I mean, listen, my boom. Uh, I had so many. I was really pleased with this game. But the first thing I would say, Jay, is the intensity they played with for 4 quarters. 4 quarters. Um, that was the biggest thing. I think we never let up. We played from the kickoff all the way to the very end. It didn't turn out like we wanted it to, but hey, I think they played with a lot of intensity. The second thing was that I thought that all three phases improved, even though the score at the end didn't dictate it. But I think we did that. And then my last boom was the fact that you know booms are made for exciting positives. I think that we are, even though with the loss, my boom is that we go into next week with confidence. That's my three booms.
I like that, and I mentioned I was on I do High Tops. I've mentioned this before, but High Top Sports, which I absolutely love on YouTube. You got to check them out if you're a Gator fan. They do a call-in show after the game, and that was one of the things that I went and said is this team that we have right now played their probably one of their best games so far this season. Um, we're going into someone else's home, a ranked right top 10 ranked a stadium, and we are one play away, and we can debate which one play it was. To me, there's 2 dozen different plays that could have went the other way, and the game may have turned out the other way. But that was with this team and this talent that we have right now, man. This is one of their best games on record, despite uh, this loss. I my booms are pretty simple. My boom and busts are pretty
Right.
simple. My boom, my first one. Let me get this one out of the way. It was really nice to see that there was more playbook for Max Brown without changing the look. Okay, without changing the different looks. So the packages didn't change. What was around him, the pre-snap movements didn't change a lick, but you added the other element of a dual threat quarterback, of someone who
Right.
could escape the edge, get out to the outside, and maybe be a threat with a corner, with some
Right.
DBs. But uh, my the one I have to, and this is a best goes last for me, is Graham Excuse my language, Miss Nadine, if you're in the car. Graham motherfucking Mertz, man. Did he not? Did he not? And this is nothing, not to discount his play or his dedication or his effort, his work ethic up to this point, but he showed us in that moment that he is the ideal Gator right now. He
Right.
is the
Yeah.
he is the Gator. He's the Gator that we've been looking for,
Right.
and he won't say it because he's a good kid, and
Yeah.
he's you know he so he won't say it. But his thought in that play was, if nobody else can or will, I will. That's why he lowered
Yeah.
his shoulder. He's a slider. You know, he's a runner out of boundser. I mean, we've seen him, you know, maybe low, but nothing like this. Dude,
Right.
he injured a linebacker and a cornerback on the same hit
Right. Yeah.
and got the yardage that he knew he needed, that he knew he couldn't dump off on anybody else. He said, if nobody can or will,
Yeah.
I will. And he went and got
Right.
it. That is my boom. He is my ideal Gator. I was a Ricky Pearsall. I had a little man crush on Ricky Pearsall. But after Saturday, I'm sorry, Ricky. Graham's my man. Graham's my man. It's hard to roll out of that into the. We got to rearrange this show because it's hard to roll into that in the bus because it really was a decent game, Donnie. It was a. It was. A,
Yeah. Your boom was spot on. I like that. I to kind of go back, we just talking about Graham Mertz. Yeah. Well, we needed the Gator to make a play, right? And what do Gators do, right? What are we the real? What did we ever see? Number 15, the other 15. What would he do?
that was, and I didn't want to say it because it's already cliche. It's already cliche with the number and the picture that's the one shot that's out there is
Yeah.
his head is down, but you can see the number 15s.
Right.
And that to me, it's too cliche, but I love that. I love that backstory, man.
Yeah. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. That shows you how much adrenaline these kids play with, because you realize that when he got hit, he come up like charged up, and then when the next play when they go hand that ball off, he's like, oh my god. So yeah, I've experienced that before, and I've experienced that injury as a quarterback in high school. So that's
That specific injury or that specific
yeah,
scenario.
yeah. I fractured my collarbone, sure did.
That's a tough
Not
one.
not in a game. It was in a practice. Um, but I did a naked bootleg and I got popped on both sides, and it'd do it every time. But Missouri they were so physical. Jay, Missouri was so physical. I think they were more physical than Georgia.
I,
I really do.
I think they were comparable to Georgia. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say more physical. It was hard. It's hard to compare because we're looking at two different Gator teams that played Georgia and Missouri.
But Jay,
I
let me
said
tell
this
you.
was two totally different games to me. So it was really hard to compare Georgia and and the and Missouri game. But
Right.
what the thing we've been harping on all season, Donnie, has been what? The defensive side of the ball. That is our biggest weakness. And
Right.
it continues to be.
Yeah.
Tackling to me, especially in the first, it actually kind of cleaned up in that second half, but tackling to me in the first half, it's almost like the fundamentals of tackling. I mean, I'm looking at things that we teach, middle schoolers, 11, those boys that are just learning to tackle and really
Right.
put, make efficient tackles. It's there. These players are missing those simple fundamentals of getting, of arm tackling, of open field tackling, that we have this idea that it's got to be either a boom shoulder tackle, which we saw was not Major Wright's style, and then this, throwing your shoulder low or throwing your shoulder into some of these big people thinking it's going to make a difference. They're going to humiliate you. A freaking tight
Listen,
end humiliated us.
they've made that though. They've made that in the
Through you
They've
mean through
made,
the rules, through the safety rules?
yeah, yeah,
That's bullshit because what you're taught fundamentally, and I've taught this. I would love to get Mr. Wayne Wilson, good friend of mine, good Swanee Bulldog, right? Swanee Bulldog bleeds green and white.
yeah,
Coaches football, played a hell of football. I didn't live through it, but I've heard great stories. Coaches great football, and this is so not fundamental. You're fundamentally taught to put your head on the front number, to put your ear up against the front number, wrap up and tackle every time. Every time. It wasn't until there, and I want to give a shout out number 94. I don't remember his name, and I didn't make note of it on the defense. I saw him make a fundamentally
that,
sound tackle.
that,
Yes, yep, Sap.
yeah,
Make a fundamentally sound tackle when he was
yeah,
clearly outnumbered. That he didn't need there was no assist tackle. He made the tackle by himself in the clear open. The boy thought
right,
the ball carrier thought that this was going to be a simple just blow by him through him because he's not going to wrap me up. And he wrapped up and made the stop immediately. There was no yards after contact. Anyhow, we need to let me go ahead and move to my busts.
yeah,
My bust is very simple, very sweet. Losing Graham Mertz, and not for the sake of the skill of our Gators, just more, he put more than his body on the line. That kind of a testament to what I said is that's my ideal Gator. There was more than just his body on the line, but he still, he knew what happened. He knew what would happen if he lowered his shoulder and didn't slide or didn't try to get to the boundary. He knew the consequences of trying to split two defenders and lower your shoulder, and he did it anyway. He got the yardage, tried to continue the game, but unfortunately that's a big hit to him more personally than I would say the Gators skill
yeah,
on a skill level. Maybe it kind of did a little bit to their confidence, but it really didn't do that. They recovered well. So my bust is simply just losing Graham because it's hard to really pick apart that game when, in my opinion, we played one of our better games.
yeah. I agree. I don't. That might be that's a good bust. Look, he
Well,
was
thank
just
you.
making a play though, Jay. He's making a play.
Oh
You know,
yeah, yeah.
just making a play. You don't think about that. You're a leader on the team. You're trying to say, hey, look, get behind me, boys. I'm the leader. You're gonna follow me. I'm gonna make this play because I've said in practice that I'm gonna lay it all out on the line, and that's what he did. He laid it out on the line. He made an aggressive. It wasn't a stupid. I think it was an aggressive. He knew they needed a first down, and he had to do that in order to make the first down, and
Agreed,
it was
100%.
crucial. So, but
Agreed,
yeah,
100%.
it's a bust that we lose our number one quarterback going into having a chance to go to postseason. I think that's so crucial. You
Yeah,
know,
I'll get to
yeah,
that. I don't
sure,
think that's as crucial as really it is to him
right,
personally, his involvement with the team, any expectations that he had for
yeah,
next season, whatever they may be. I have full confidence that it's simple. It's a non-displaced collarbone fracture, right? Which means there's nothing out of place. That
no, no, he's good. It'll heal.
everything's in place, and
It's not
that
his throwing shoulder. It's
right,
not
it's
his
not his
throwing shoulder.
throwing shoulder, so he'll be able to participate physically in camps.
Right.
And if he chooses to stay, which God, I hope he does. I'm so in love. This is our ideal Gator. I hope he does. Especially with some of these commits that we have coming in. I hope some of these defensive guys can improve over spring and summer, whatever. But um,
Yeah.
did you get to a bust, Donnie?
No, I didn't give you my bust. I have a big bust.
Ooh,
I have a huge bust.
you get the full screen.
Yeah, I'm really frosted on this one bust because everybody goes off on this 4th and 17, which was a bust. Get it? But the bust was number 7 ran out of bounds. If he wouldn't run out of bounds, we kill another 30 something seconds in the clock. And who knows what'll happen at the end of the game. But you got to be smart enough to know the situation. You don't go out of bounds. You got to stay in bounds. Got to keep that clock running. And I am sure that before he went on the end, I have the confidence enough to know that they said, do not go out of bounds. Go down on the knee or whatever. and that was the play for me that we went from an L to an L from a W because of that one play.
Yeah, I mean, Donnie, we could go into rabbit holes of that one
Yeah,
play. I will agree that's on the top of my list. That was not a heads up play.
yeah,
It was an in the moment play, and
yeah,
we have our backs have been so good, and that was a little bit of a a heads down kind of tunnel vision play there, of really just not thinking, right? Thinking that we need the time, not them. And usually that's the scenario. That's the scenario when you're, you know, down and things are looking down. The scenario
yeah.
on the ball field is generally 9 times
Right.
out of 10, it's we need the time. When in
Yep.
actuality, and that can get caught up in the moment. You were talking about Graham making the play.
Yep.
Okay, and you're right. Trevor Etienne needs to be smarter about this, and he improved blocking a little bit, not much, but anyhow, that was a big bust for me. I agree that the 4th and 17 was a big play, but I kind of hate to put it on this, but that fumble really did it. Um, I have when I make I started making game notes, and I try to find that moment, where I write down this is the game, right? Where I write down this
Yep.
is it. That was it. That's what did it. And I try to keep it very select. I try not to have a lot of them where it's, oh, that's the game. Oh, nope, that was the game. My two were the turnovers. The interception, I said, that's probably the game. And then when the fumble, I said, that's it. That's the one we're going to want back. We can talk about the 4th and 17. We can talk about Trevor getting down, but we shouldn't have been in that position then. Okay, because of the work we had done in the last 7 or 8 minutes of the quarter.
But you went ahead. You were winning the game. It's different. Um,
I would have loved to see that instead of being a field goal. I kind of even said then, I said it in my own head, if we kick a field goal here, we lose the game. If we score the touchdown, we win.
yeah.
Yeah. So we
Yeah.
really needed the touchdown there, not the field goal. But again, King Smack, when you got to put King Smack in, he's dependable. You're gonna get those, right?
Yeah. Right.
And then I hate being left
Yeah.
with blocking a field goal. I hate being left with the having to block a field goal to win the game, and that's where it
Yeah.
was. And I don't like that scenario.
No, I mean not that kid. That kid's automatic. He's the one that kicked it. But he's the one that kind of sparked their season when he hit that 61-yarder.
Donnie B, here in North Florida, who does he remind you of?
Huh?
Who does that kicker? What was his name? The Missouri kicker. Who does he remind you of? I'm gonna give you a name. Who he here in
All
North
right.
Florida?
Okay.
Sebastian Janikowski.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you, Janikowski had the biggest beer gut I ever seen in a kicker,
Dude,
right?
and he had the same strut. The
Yeah.
strut, the attitude, it was freaking Sebastian Janikowski, and I
Watch it.
knew when this sucker walked on the field. Nope, I don't even need to watch it because
Reminds me of John Daly in a golf and a football. You know what I mean? You see him over there throwing down some cigs, throwing down a few cigarettes,
smoking a cigarette on the sideline,
yeah,
changing,
sitting on the sidelines. All right,
taking a
me
shot
Scotty.
before he goes to kick. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, for
I
sure.
mean, that's what. Yeah, no doubt.
I want to thank the bartender tonight for having one already ready for me before we roll into our dues. And has Miss Nadine made it to the car?
Nadine is driving.
Does she have some boom or busts from Saturday?
Her boom and bust is probably her having to drive home.
Okay.
Her bust is
The
probably
boom and the bust?
Yeah, she always says I owe her. What
Yeah, I'm
does that
getting
mean?
5 Benjamins out of this sucker.
Ooh. 5.
See how she does me, Jay? She wants 5. She owes me 5.
No,
Benjamins.
I get. This is a total of 10 Benjamins out of this.
10?
Wow.
I think you're
You
selling
went from
yourself
5
short.
to 10 in about 30 seconds, didn't it?
I mean, you gotta think of, overhead, inflation. I think you're at half your
Sorry,
number.
owes me 5, so it's 5 for this episode.
So don't even count the 5. So that 5 is
Put it on
the
my
going.
tab.
The 5
Put it
is
on my
for
tab.
this one.
Okay.
So we'll set those. You need a whole new rate. You still need that 1,000, right? You still need those 10 bennies to go
Hey,
with
Jay,
the
you're
10
not
bennies
helping.
that are in a separate
Jay.
account. You already owed the 10. That's
Jay.
20 bennies.
Jay, you're not helping.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't.
You're not
I
helping.
can't. I'm sorry. I
Let's
can't
stay
help
on track.
myself. I
Let's
can't
stay
help.
on track. Let's talk about the Gators.
I love you. I love you
Seminole
both
we don't
more
talk
than
to them.
either of you know. All right.
We don't talk to Seminole fans this week, Jay. We don't talk. Okay.
Okay, who's the hater then?
We don't talk to Seminole fans
Oh,
this week.
I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot. We had got scared. You know what? We're skipping the break. We're going right into the dudes, baby. Donnie B, the dudes, what do you think Florida needs to handle in the swamp Saturday against them criminals?
So the dudes is built off of what we did last weekend, man. Look, Billy Napier's offense is on fire. It doesn't matter if we go from Merch to he's a young buck, but that offense didn't change one bit. I didn't feel it was one let off. Did you?
No, and that's what I meant about the playbook opened for Max.
Right.
It didn't change. It
Right.
opened.
Right.
With the pre-snap stuff, the pre-snap stuff looked exactly the same. The packages, the substitutions looked exactly the same. It was the same shit, but then you added that one threat of he's probably not handing. Now it's not a double option. Now it's a triple option. Continue. I'm sorry.
Right.
Go ahead.
Hey, if I lose you through here, if I lose you up, and then I'll come back. But there's one little bad area right here that we go through.
Yeah, we're catching a little bit of that, but you're better now. Go ahead.
But the dues that my second due is basically to make the routine play. Make the routine play. We got to make the routine play and eliminate the bad play.
I heard the routine play, eliminate the bad play. We didn't hear the first do, and I'm gonna give you a minute to come out of there, Donnie. So just hang on tight. I'm gonna give you my dues if you can hear me clearly. Our listeners can hear, because my dues are pretty simple. Is keep the threat spread. That threat spread across the field. We've got all of these skill players that are phenomenal, from our backfield to our wides, our tight ends, and now our quarterback, right, can split loose with the ball. You have so many eligible ball carriers that you need to keep spreading that threat. And then the defense, we saw you make good stops, so we just ask that you do that. Make the tackles, make the fundamental tackling. It's that simple. When you hit them, wrap up, bring them down. Ball game. Did you hear any of that, Donnie? We're still having trouble with Donnie.
Yeah, I heard you. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
I want to get to your first do. I liked your
good.
second do is execute the plays that we know how to play, right? And stop giving up the big ones. Was that pretty much the basis of your second do?
Right.
I missed your first one.
Well, the first one is no. The first one was actually the first one was what I was saying, is that you got to make the routine play. You got to make the routine play and then eliminate the big plays. That's what you got to do, because they are undefeated because of the big play, not because of a sustained drive.
Right. Agreed. And
Okay.
our buddy Shane QB, he's mentioned that they're not a great team. They're scheduled weak.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's the big play. But
it's the big play.
Donnie, that's a good segue. So that was two booms or two do's, right?
No. Yeah. I got one more.
Oh, okay.
All right. This is a big do. This is the biggest of all the do's. Let our coach our team. You hear me? Let our coach our team. Because I think right now, Billy Napier is doing a heck of a job for what he's working with. I'm just going to be honest with you.
I agree.
I just think we just need to have we talked about this before about having fun doing what you're doing, but we need to let Billy Napier coach. We got too many people that are picking it apart and understand the task that man has ahead of him. And I think he's done a phenomenal job of what he's had to work with. I mean, when you go out there knowing that you're going to give up 30 something points and you got to find a way to overcome that.
Right. We all went into this game knowing we were going to lose it. We all went into this game knowing we were going to lose it. And somewhere there in the game early, we got our orange and blue glasses. Trademark Donnie B.
Right. Exactly.
Copyright Donnie B.
Copyright.
Is that a copyright or trademark? Folks, if you didn't know it, Donnie B specializes in not only taking the legal track for your invention, but also taking it to market and marketing your product as well. It's a great thing. You should hook up with Donnie B. Is it for sale by Inventor? We're going to give them a free plug. Hit them.
Wow, Jay, that was nice. Good deal.
Hit them with it. Hit them with the free plug. Go ahead. You got it? Do you have a good idea? Do you have a great idea? Did your mom, your wife, or your grandmother say that's a great idea? You need to call this guy. Here's the number. Here's the website. Go ahead.
386-269-0444. ForSaleByInventor.com.
There you go. It's that simple. They'll help you with your legal. They'll help you with the research to make sure that you're actually on an idea here. If you're kind of on someone else's idea, they'll help you develop it where it's yours, right? Because Donnie B, is it true that we have all these great inventions, but you have inventions to make other ones better?
It's called unique and novel, buddy.
Unique and novel. So if you have a better idea to a current invention, they can help you not only find the legal ways to get that legally yours, property of yours, intellectual property or whatever it's called of yours, put it in your name and let you benefit off that and take you to market. Boom. You even help with manufacturing.
Oh, yeah.
It's full service. You remember the day when you could pull up to the pump and just hand $10? It's the Donnie remix. This is Donnie B remix.
Our process.
It's a cool.
I appreciate it. That's a good call right there.
Yeah, it's a cool kind of deal. It is not what you think. So you think, okay, it's just the thing you see on TV, that one you seen on TV with the turtle. No, that's a scam. You need to call For Sale by Inventor. ForSaleByInventor.com. 386-269-0444. Was I right? I was close. Donnie B. ForSaleByInventor.com. Anyway, that was a free plug. You're welcome, Neil. Anyhow, Donnie B is a little bit frozen now, so I will move into my don'ts. And those are going to be simple. I don't even want to do this show. Everything's so simple. Offense, don't get too fancy with Max. Keep what you had there. The simplicity, it was our offense with a new element. Okay, don't get fancy with Max. Look at there, guys. If that don't freak you out. Let me actually I'm gonna leave that just like that. You can watch that till he comes back. Good thing I didn't change it. Give him a second to get back in here. So that's my first offensive don't get too fancy.
I'm back.
Yeah, I got you. We got you. I'm in the middle. I just started my don'ts. You cut out, and it was simple. My first don't is don't get too fancy with old Max. Keep that same, keep that offense like you had it. The offense was working. And it worked well when you threw him into that offense as him as just a different element to the current offensive playbook. Keep that. Let's not get too fancy. We're in the swamp. Let the crowd be the crowd. Let the crowd be the 12th man. Okay? Defense, when we needed you the most, you gave up big plays. Okay? Donnie B just said it. This is not the one to let slip up because of one big play. So don't do that. That's the don'ts. Don't give up the big play, which you already pretty much said.
Right.
And just don't get too fancy with Max. What you had with Max, what you had with Graham, adding Max in there is just an additional element to a currently well-functioning offensive machine. Agreed? He agrees. Donnie B,
I
don't.
agree with that 100%. Good take right there.
What are Florida's don'ts? I love Nadine's don'ts. What does Florida not need to do? I'd love to hear from her at the end of yours. Your don'ts, yeah. In relation to Florida,
you really don't want to hear from her what she thinks Florida needs to do.
Sorry, folks, we got a Florida State driving Donnie.
You're like lighting you're like lighting up that lighter. That's like putting lighter in a fire before you get the fire lit, knowing that you're fixing to get explosion.
She's flying.
When you talk to her,
she's flying the machine that you're riding in, but I'm flying the machine everybody's watching. So I'm gonna give you the don'ts. Go ahead, buddy. It's yours.
Okay. So listen, this is the big. There's a few don'ts. One is don't let the moment pass you by. This is the either the end of your season or that it gives you another few weeks to practice to get better for next year, because you're definitely going to need it. So don't expect Max to do everything himself. There's got to be some people that step up. Our running game, I'm looking forward. Oh my God, I'm looking forward to a running game where we have. I'd like to have a two-set. We talked about that. Have ETN in the back front and with Montreal at the same time. Let's see what we can do to
Max Brown taking the snap.
Yeah,
with Pearsall with a pre-snap motion and Trey Wilson out on the. Oh God.
Yes.
There's so many plays I can eat up. Okay,
yeah.
I'm not a Division I coach, but there's so many plays I can eat up a middle school fucking team right now, a JV team up right now with them guys.
Yeah, I'm with you. So get the ball into the skill position in the hands. We got to keep. So don't waste plays. What I mean is that let's make the most out of every play like it's our last play ever, because the season's on the line. We've got recruiting to think about. We got all these different things to keep these kids that coming, because this is a hard rebuild. I would have never imagined. I can't imagine the pressure Napier's under to build this program. And I think he's doing a fine job,
Agreed. Agreed.
But we have to, that's the biggest. Those are my big don'ts. I could go on with a couple more, but it's kind of repetitious of what you said. I just see. I see us winning this game, Jay. I do. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, how I feel about it. Yeah, it helps us with their number 13 out of the game.
I totally get that.
For Travis, it helps us, but there's a lot of talent. Our corners, they have got to grow up. Oh my gosh. And they're not freshmen anymore. Okay? Let's call it like it is. They're not freshmen anymore. They got almost a whole season, but they're going to need it, because they got that kid Wilson on one end, and then they got the kid from that transfer from Michigan State. 4.
Right.
Those two dudes are for real, and they can really hurt us. Now, we don't have a running quarterback at Florida State. They don't have a running quarterback now. That he's on the sideline with Mertz on our sideline. It's very intriguing to see how these two backups. You know the thing, Jay, everybody that you read about wants to see how the backup does, right? Like, let's bring in the backup quarterback. Let's see what he can do. We're getting ready to find out, Jay, who's got the program headed in the right direction.
I agree. And Donnie B, it's almost like you got show notes, right? Because that's an interesting little segue into my next predicament. We're done with the booms and busts and do's and don'ts. Let's get that out of the way. We do have, there you go. There's the Florida State graphic everybody's been looking for at the bottom. So interesting kind of dynamic to this one is that not only are we going in with second string quarterbacks, but we're both going in with second string quarterbacks who got hurt in the same week. which happens to be the week
Crazy.
before, which happens to be
It's crazy.
a rivalry. Okay, so now you have two backups that are technically, I don't know how Rodemaker, has he started anything?
No,
Okay.
he was 7 for 8 for 119 yards on the season.
Okay, so here's where the dynamic gets super interesting and complicated to me, right? And this was what makes it a wash is when Jordan Travis got hurt, my heart sank because not only do I want any kid to get hurt, but I knew in that moment that if Florida won next week, that was going to be the excuse. I wanted to win or lose to the best. Period.
Sure.
Okay. When he got
Agree with
hurt,
you.
I was watching that game, and I knew when he went down and I saw his foot pointed the wrong way, I looked over at Rebecca. I said, "The cart's coming. The cart will be there, and the cart will be there in less than 60 seconds." Because I saw his foot point, and my heart, and the first thing I thought was, "This is not good for the Gators. This is not good for me as a Gator because I'm not fixing to get the feedback that I wanted." Okay.
Yeah.
And then watching the Gator game, my current ideal Gator, lowers his shoulder and he's inevitably out. Right, going. I knew that was a collar when he grabbed that area of the shoulder pad. How they grab it, how a player grabs that shoulder pad. So when they grab it this way, it's out here on the shoulder. Okay, when they grab the pad this way, but when they grab the pad this way, with the thumb down, that's a collarbone all day long. And when it's collarbone, when it's shoulder, there's a chance he'll come. Maybe non-throwing shoulder, maybe he'll come. When it's collarbone, done. I knew it. I knew it in the moment when he did that. I knew collarbone was done. I knew he was done. But then I immediately thought, hey, wait a minute. Now I'm back to where I want this game to be, and maybe even more so than it was before Jordan Travis got hurt. Maybe this is the game that I wanted. Jordan Travis and Mert, like you said, let's find out where this program's going. Let's find out the big plays now because we're matching up two guys who are going out who are starting their first game in a rivalry game. And you can't tell me they don't know what it means to either school going into this game. So, what does a rivalry game? My question is simple, Donnie, and you can elaborate however you'd like. But what does a rivalry game with two backups who look like they have some quality to them, okay, who look like they can just fit in, what does that bring? What does that look like? What does that story look? What does that game look like? What does that story look like? Where two backup quarterbacks start their first game as a rivalry game.
Well, I mean, that's a good question. Listen, it's the unknown. It's we don't know. But what it brings basically is showing what team is prepared for the moment. We're gonna know.
That is a great statement. That is a very profound statement there, Donnie.
Well, it's made. Are you made for the moment? You know what I mean? Which team is made for the moment? Because there's a lot on the line on both ends. I think Florida State has the pressure because they're already, but they're leaking oil as far as with the playoffs because, their strength of schedule has not been, that great, and they can have an argument. But if they run the table, they're going to have so they have a lot of pressure on them to run the table to get to the playoffs. Me personally, I think they deserve to go to the playoffs, win or lose. But that's me. What I've witnessed in college football this year. But I just know that we're at home. We have the pressure's off us because we're not expected to win. So here we go again is how we react in the moment. Do we come out like we played at Missouri? Because if we do that, we're going to win the game, man. I'm telling
I'm going to second that just to kill the silence there, Donnie, because you froze up a little bit. That I second that. If we bring that intensity from Missouri into the swamp. We bring the 12th man in, okay? That's a win
Right.
on us because, again, we're looking at,
Yep.
yeah, Florida State might be 11-0 and the first time in a long damn time. So, first of all, scheduled week, okay? Put them against LSU the last half of the season, of LSU season, okay? Put them up against Missouri in Columbia, right? Hell, for that matter, send them to Kentucky, send them to Neyland Stadium, right, and watch them get embarrassed. The swamp is no different, and I would love to think that we are just weak in our conference, but that the SEC is still the top conference. So if you come into our stadium in the SEC, and with this game, with the backups being in, I'm not sure it's a more equal game because we just don't have the research to go off of. With these two backups, we don't have enough film, but neither do each team. Florida State has not a lot of film to go off of Max Brown. They have a half a quarter. We have no film to go off of Rodemaker. We have 2.5 quarters of film from him. So
they don't have any film to go off. They don't have any film to go off ours either.
Right. So it's the level. The playing field seems to be a little more level to me in that regard. Again, you're coming to an SEC stadium. It's a rival game. This is the swamp. I agree with you, Donnie. If we can bring the execution from the Missouri game, and we can pick apart what we didn't like about that Missouri game all day long, but play for play, even the bad ones, we bring this into the swamp with Florida State, we win that game. Play for play.
Are you made for the moment?
Are you made for the moment? I think we are. I think we are, Donnie. We are made for the moment. But we both know we've both played competitive sports. We both coach competitive sports. We know that we have less to do with that than anybody else. But it changes in the moment. It's a moment play. And you have to have, it's hard to explain, it's hard to find. You have to be in the moment to find it. Because if you're not given the opportunity does, and you don't know what it takes. And sometimes we saw, and I go back to my ideal Gator, Graham Mertz, he did what it took in the moment. And now
Let me ask you this, Jay. Let me ask you this. Do you think our kids are playing for the coach right now?
In a sense, I think what they're playing for now is the institution. Okay. I think they're playing for what it means to be a Gator. And if that means playing for who the coach is now, yes. This is our man. And that will be our man until they put some other man in front of us. And when they put that other man in front of us, that's our man. So I believe it's the team, when we're talking about the team, the locker room, yes, because that's who they're given. And I feel that we have that team, and it's been a little bit since I think we've had that, is that we have some people who are willing to sacrifice for that. That's what they're playing for now. That's what I saw Saturday. And you can put you could put me in there. You could put me in there if you put me in the locker room today, okay? 0 college coaching experience, 0 college playing experience. But if you put me, if the University of Florida put me in that locker room today and said, this is your guy, I feel that we have the team that will rally around me to make sure that I'm the guy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think this is more important than the guy right now to them, to our team. And I really feel Billy Napier feels the same way through his kind of, you know how the media's kind of led him into these whole firing things, especially when SEC Fire Nation happened, last week.
Yeah.
So the media kind of, did it. And I thought that was kind of a low blow from some of those media guys to kind of do that to him, but he handled it well. But the attitude I got from him was, this is bigger than me. So it's the next man up. If I get fired, then they have the next man up attitude. And that's the attitude, that he has as well. He understands that if he doesn't perform and he doesn't, do whatever, I feel like although he has no real ties to Gator Nation as far as his past, I do feel he has the team attitude. He is the coach's coach when you talk about team things, okay? When you talk about
Yeah.
things in the locker room and you talk about things as a player who has played, football in a competitive nature, that's the coach I want, okay?
Right.
Win or lose. And if that man is the one that's leading me, I'm going to have faith in him that,
Right.
okay, we'll win the next one, coach. I'm going to win the next. Well, yeah, I'm going to play harder the next time. It doesn't matter what those boys in the locker room think. It doesn't matter. I think what we say out here on the outside means more than what those boys in the locker room. If the athletic department isn't patient, then, that's on them. I really wish the true Gator fans would really shine through these kind of ones that are super hating on that, because none of you know what it's like to coach maybe any level of ball, right? And you have to understand that it's a lot of business, and that if you want the type of program that Georgia has, if you want the type of programs that Ohio State, Michigan, if you want to be among those, that you got to deal with some shit. You got to let a man build something that's his. You haven't even given him an opportunity to build his ideal. He hasn't had the time to build his ideal thing. And you got to give him the time, because those guys have. Kirby Smart has. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
well, all of them have. Norvell, they were wanting to fire him after 2 years.
yeah, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. If you
Right.
You know what that tells me? That tells me that the administration, the thought of the administration is getting to this new way of thinking that we want instant gratification. We need titles now.
Yeah.
We need titles now. We don't care about building a program over long term. That's an old way of thinking anymore. And it's evident in transfer portals and NIL that old way of thinking of building a program that sustains over years, that way of thinking is going to be so far behind us. It's going to be instant gratification. I think my prediction is there's two scenarios that happen within the next 10 years. Is that you're going to have 3 schools that are constantly in the top 3, and they're the only ones because that's how it's just going to work with the money. Or the only other one is that the top 10 will change like a little boy changes superhero underwear, right? This year it's going to be this. It's going to be whoever they can bring in and boom for a couple years. Yeah. And then the next guy's going to get the boom for a couple of years, and it's just going to trade. College football is not heading in a great direction. It hasn't totally tanked yet, but it still got my attention, I guess. So here's to you guys.
Yeah, well, listen, the reason why I asked you that question, and that was a really good answer, but, my feeling is like I'm looking at the body of work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
I'm looking at, like, do we have – yeah. Do we have some –
in body of work, Donnie, we can look at body of work, and what I see in someone's body of work.
These kids are fighting.
It's very clear when it comes to watching body of work that there are two different outlooks on body of work. I mean, it's evident in game to game, where you can look at these, some of these Gator fans who say, oh, it was this, this play or this play, and they suck and fire Billy. But then you have these Gator fans who are like, hey, wait a minute. We need to build something here. We're not going to build things if we're cycling through coaches every 3 or 4 years, right? And so if you can't even get the body of work the perception of the body of work to match within a game, how are you going to get it over long term? Like I said, college football is just going to a place that's going to be dark. It's going to be a 100-team NFL. Why not, right?
Yeah.
Screw it. Let them do Subway commercials. Well,
I mean, like I said, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Jay?
you were really spotty there, and we need to
Okay.
get to close to wrapping up. So
Yeah.
I do want to give you your floor. I want to give you your closing thoughts. We're going to keep this Donnie B's motivational moment going. I kind of like that. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. The motivational moment by Donnie B. We give him 60 seconds to give motivation, whether it be to fans, players, coaches, whatever. Whoever's listening, if you need hope going into this Florida State game, Donnie B's the one that's going to give it to you. Sorry, Miss Nadine's probably not going to go in your direction. It's probably going to go closer to mine. We love you anyhow. You're one of my favorite people. Donnie B, closing thoughts. We'll close the show with what you got to say.
Yeah, Jay. Listen, this is this is the week that Nadine says you got divorce papers are sitting on the shelf right now. They're sitting on the counter. No,
I've stirred some shit.
we laugh about it. We have a good time with it. But no, bottom line, this is the thing. We've got all the advantages this week. All right. So we have a team that's made progress every game. We have home field advantage. We have a Saturday night 7:00 kickoff on ESPN. That gives everybody all day long to drink and drink and drink and drink and drink.
I guess
and then bring it.
That works. Swamp. We got bring it. We got bring it out of all that. I like that. Folks, we love you. That's going to be a wrap.
Against the undefeated team and to take some eggs and yay, and go ahead 23.
That's why I love doing this
Did
shit.
You get that?
I got what I needed to. That's a wrap, folks. We're out.